Hello everybody to the next live at UNICAT. Today the topic is preparation of a vehicle for shipping or storage. We start right here in the driver's cab, which we already have prepared on this vehicle for shipping because it's leaving for overseas tomorrow. Yeah, okay. So first of all, when you hand over the vehicle in the port, you have to give the people a key for the driver's cab so they can drive it in the port and on the boat or onto a flat rack, so they can access the driver's cab. And that means that everything should be removed out of the driver's cab that could be of interest for somebody else. So here you can see the brackets. So we had a GPS system here which we removed. We had the monitor of the central tire inflation system here, and normally you would also remove the radio, but this is a completely built-in unit which you can't use for another vehicle, and for that reason we leave it here in the dashboard. But everything else, cup holders, carpets, leather cushions in the back, everything will go out. This one is fixed, bolted, so this one can stay, but everything that's loose we took out to make sure it's not missing when the truck arrives. Now when you hand over the truck in the port, you should have a safety vest for yourself, because you are only allowed to move in the port if you have a safety vest. Sometimes they even require a helmet and safety shoes, but the vest for yourself is the minimum. You should also provide seat covers, and not only for the driver's seat but also for the passenger seat, because the guy who is driving it on the ship or in the port might have somebody going with him, and you don't want to have the seats dirty, so you protect the seats. Also, you only hand out one key that opens the driver's door and which is good for the ignition. And what we do a pretty large attachment to it, also showing the vehicle identification number and port of destination, and that's a UNICAT Expedition Vehicle. So in case they are not very careful with the keys, they have a good chance to find at least this one back. We also hide another ignition key somewhere on the truck in case they lose the key, so that we can inform whoever needs to know it where that key is, so that they can still move the truck. On the outside, the truck also needs some preparation. Most important is that you remove all the LED high beam lights and side lights, rear lights, which could disappear during the trip. And we have watertight quick connectors, so we can quite quickly disconnect them and reconnect them, so it's worth doing it for every shipping. What you should also do is mark the points where they can lash the vehicle. So we have just put here the yellow tie wraps, so they know that they get some attention, that they can tie down the vehicle on these points. And we have the same identification on the rear. Well, we don't drive with a UNICAT license plate to the port, but if you have a red plate or a garage plate, don't forget to take it off when you leave the vehicle in the port. As we said, nothing should be in the driver's cab. Of course, also nothing should be in the storages at the driver's cab, which are accessible from inside the driver's cab, because the people have access to the driver's cab, so they could also have access to these storage compartments, so nothing should be in here as well. If you have additional door locks, like here, you can use them, but then you also have to hand over this key. We have separate keys for the safety locks in the driver's cab and in the body, so you don't have to give them the key for the body, you only give them the key for those additional locks here. So the shipping companies don't want to see full fuel tanks, and that should be respected. They allow typically 20 to 50 liters or maybe 10% of the fuel capacity. So you should make sure when you fill your vehicle to bring it to the port, make sure the fuel tanks are relatively empty. They are not very picky with that, but and you should have enough fuel so you can drive out of the port. And even if the truck is idling for a couple of hours in the port for whatever reason, you should not run out of fuel by that reason. Of course, you have to make sure that all the storage compartment doors, the storage boxes, everything is locked and empty. I would put everything which is in these boxes inside the body. The tires should be at maximum pressure, at street pressure. So if you lose some air while the vehicle is transported, you don't have a puncture right away. You should also remove antennas which stick out, because the shipping companies will measure the dimensions of the vehicle in the port. So if you have an antenna sticking out 0.5 meter, they might want you to pay the width of the vehicle by the length of the vehicle by 0.5 meter volume extra, because only your antenna is sticking out. Sometimes they also charge the width over the mirrors, but then you have to tell them that this is not good. And typically they measure the truck again at the arrival port, and then they correct the invoice. When you arrive in the port, you should also make pictures from inside the driver's cab, the reading of the odometer. You should make pictures on the outside to show the condition of the truck, and you should make close pictures, and you should make wider pictures, so everybody who sees the pictures can see that it's in the port where you handed over the vehicle. So they cannot say, well, it was there before. Okay, inside the body, you have to make sure that all the furniture is locked. I would put down the shades of the windows so no light comes in, nobody can look inside. Expensive equipment like this bicycle here, also other equipment and tools should all be stored inside the body. Of course, you should not have food or vegetables in the vehicle for a trip that takes weeks. And you should also shut off the fridge and freezer, clean it, let it dry out. So it's better to shut off the fridge 1 day before, so that the ice can melt, you can dry it out, and then you should leave the door slightly open. We just do that by fixing it with a tie wrap in a slightly open position, so the door can't rattle, but it can ventilate. Of course, the electrical system also has to be taken care of, so that the batteries do not get discharged during the trip. Ideally, the solar panel will recharge the batteries. That will probably happen in the ports, but not on the ship. So all the fuses have to be taken out, like this. The only one we leave on is a DC-DC charger, which transfers charge from the body batteries to the chassis batteries. if the body batteries are full enough. Everything is shut off. Everything else is shut off. Also, the water tanks should be completely empty. The taps should be open, just in case you ship during winter time, so you don't get a freezing problem inside the body, because of course it's not heated during the trip. So once you have checked the body inside, everything is okay. Then yeah, we close the stairs. Okay, also secure it, shut off the last fuse, and close the door and lock it.